Hey y'all, it's Cher and
Dawn.
And welcome back to the
Chattermouth podcast.
Today I am super excited. We have Kelsey Heather here. She was an NBA cheerleader, an NFL cheerleader, an NHL cheerleader, and now she has hung up her pom-poms and is now one of the top female wrestlers. Oh my gosh, Kelsey, well first of all, before we even get started, me and her have gone like way back.
I know.
We go way back. We're going to talk all about it. Kelsey, welcome to the Chattermouth podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's so good seeing you guys. Love it.
So great.
So nice to see you. Okay, so the last time I saw you, we were literally, I feel like it's been forever, but we were literally cheerleading together.
Crazy, right?
Crazy.
And it feels like forever, but I feel like it's only been like 8 years.
Only 8 years.
Only. That's not that long.
No, 8 years is... Has it really been 8 years?
Maybe
I think
longer.
It has.
I don't know.
That makes me feel so old because in my head, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
In my head, I feel like it feels long, but not that long, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like it's been forever, but at the same time, I feel like it was yesterday.
Right. I also don't feel like I was like 8 years younger.
No.
Do you know what I mean by that?
No, I'm definitely still 21.
Yeah, definitely.
Forever.
Exactly.
It never changes. Yeah, that is so weird. Because like I couldn't do that now. I would be too old, I guess. Am I?
No.
I don't know. Do you get to be too old for cheerleading?
No, we're 21, sure.
Oh, yes, we're 21. That's true. Exactly. Still 21. So true. Yeah, so we cheered for the NHL. We were Tampa Bay Lightning cheerleaders together. It was so much fun. But after the NHL, that was your first like stint in cheerleading, right?
Yep.
Well,
I cheered in college.
yeah.
Yep, at the University of South Florida. I was a co-ed cheerleader there. But that was more like cheer specific, stunts, tumbling, that stuff. So NHL was my first pro cheer gig as a dancer versus a cheerleader.
Right.
So it was a lot different for me, but we had a blast. I loved it.
It was so much
So wait a
fun.
minute, you did dancing too? You did dance many years, you said, as a...
No.
You
she
did
just did
gymnastics and
Yep.
cheerleading.
Yep, I did gymnastics and cheerleading. And then afterwards, I don't even remember how I thought of auditioning for the Lightning, but somehow, some way I saw it and was like, that would be fun. Let's try that out. And, you know, and then I realized when I got there, I was like, oh, this is more dance.
Yeah.
That I don't know what I was expecting it to be, but I was like, okay, fake it till I make it.
There you go.
We're a dancer now, guys.
Yes. That's so funny. And is NFL the same and NBA as well? Like, is it also more dancing than your typical cheerleading?
Yes. So NFL is way more dancing than typical cheerleading for sure. They've kind of transitioned since I cheered for the NFL into adding more like tumbling and stunt specific stuff to the NFL. When I cheered for the NBA, I was actually on a stunt team. So it was, again, more cheer specific. So it was guys and girls, and we would do actual stunts and tumbling. And it was more reflective of my days cheering in college versus doing NHL or NFL. So
cool.
yeah, it was kind of a full circle moment cheering for the NBA because it was almost going back to my roots of when I cheered in college, which I loved. And it was a lot of fun because a lot of us had cheered in college in the past. So we were kind of dusting off the palms and like, let's see what we can still do, guys. So it was really fun.
When you did cheerleading, were you the one that was thrown up in the air?
Yes.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Well, I got a story. When you did cheerleading in high school, they threw you up in the air, but then they didn't catch her. And then she broke her arm. And I said that was the last time I would let her cheer after that.
You know that
I said, you don't have you're not in control of your own destiny.
Absolutely, yeah, you're absolutely got to trust everyone under you. And that same thing happened to me in college. My second year cheering in college, I was stunting in the air and I was dropped and I actually blew out my knee and I tore my ACL. So I was out the whole rest of the season, had to get surgery, all of that. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. And then I remember afterwards, after I had surgery, I was like, okay, I have to like go to physical therapy, get better. Like tryouts are in April, Dad. And I had surgery in December. And he was like, well, what do you mean tryouts are in April? And I'm like, tryouts are in April. Like I have to have my tumbling back. I have to have my stunting back in 4 months. And normally recovery for an ACL surgery is 9 months. And I was like, well, I got to get better in 4.
Wow.
He was like, you're going back? Like, absolutely not. And I'm like, absolutely, I'm going back. What do you mean?
Oh, my gosh.
Yep. So I did physical therapy like 6 days a week for like 3 hours a day on campus. I actually had some of the PT trainers. I like taught them how to stunt or spot tumbling.
Oh my
Really?
So
That's
that they can
hilarious.
help me like get back to tumbling. So by the time tryouts rolled around, that I was like ready to go. I know it's crazy. Yeah, I was recovered in 4 months instead of like the
Wow.
average 9.
Wow.
amazing.
So you weren't afraid that they're not going to catch you? I mean, you have no control over it.
She
I know.
watched that movie. Have you seen that movie with, I think it's Rebel Wilson, where she's like
Such a good
It's
movie.
such a good
I
movie. She
loved
gets
it.
thrown in the air, they drop her.
I know.
And then she
Right,
like, what
yeah,
happens? She
unconscious
yeah, she
for-
becomes unconscious for like 20 years.
years.
And then she wakes up just to do high school again. Oh my God, that is so, what's it called? It was
Senior year.
Oh, I loved that movie.
It was so funny.
When I
loved
was
it.
sick with COVID, I just like watched that and it was like the best. Like it just made me laugh so much.
It was a great movie. Funny movie. I love
Yeah.
it. If you're ever in a bad mood, just like pop that movie in and it'll
Totally.
just make you laugh.
But yeah, I remember when I broke my arm from cheerleading, I had to wear this cast that like goes around your stomach. It was like so embarrassing. I just started dating this new guy and I was like, and he was a senior and I was like a sophomore, or I was like a freshman actually, or something. And he was like older and cool. And I was like, oh my God, I was so embarrassed. I just like couldn't. I had to end the relationship because I'm like, I'm just such an embarrassment right now.
You didn't like the look. You didn't like wearing
I
that.
couldn't like hold his hand. I was like just new to dating. It was so awkward.
That's when you're like, yeah, I had a very bad injury because I am a professional athlete.
Yeah, exactly. It was crazy. But wait, so now you've switched, you've hung up your pom-poms, you're
Yep,
done
kind
with,
of hung up the pom-poms.
But you're still coaching though, right?
Yeah, I am.
So who do you coach for a college? Is
Yeah.
that right? Wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool. What's it like being on the other side?
It's different.
Yeah.
I will say kids now in college are a lot different. I don't know if it's like different school or whatever, but it's been a really great challenge. But my favorite part is I just love seeing them grow up from like freshman year to senior year. Yeah. Their attitudes, their personality, their confidence, learning how to talk to people, learning how to talk to their professors, learning how to even talk to me, and just get their voice beyond, when they're coming from home, when their parents kind of managed their schedule, managed their time, helped with their schoolwork, and now they're learning that independence in college by themselves. And that's been my favorite part, is watching them grow from year 1 to year 4. 4 years goes by fast, but the transition of watching them grow into little young adults is my favorite. I love it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And like, do you make up the dances too and all of that, or?
I do. I do.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Yep. We do for
That's cool.
competition. We do hire out a choreographer to help choreograph our competition routines. But as far as game day goes, like we create all of the game day materials. One of the girls that we cheered with, she comes and helps out sometimes too and create some game day material. There might be some lightning sidelines in there every now and then. It's fine. Like
That's
we can
awesome.
share, guys. We can share.
Totally. We're not using them anymore.
It's
So. I literally still remember so many of our sideline dances. I try to teach them to Belle.
Yes.
Like we'll do like the little ones. Some of them are really easy. I'm like, and she like gets it. I'm like, okay, wiggle the tushy.
Exactly.
Clap, clap.
Oh, she's gonna be so cute.
Yeah. No.
She's starting her young.
I know. She
Perfect.
gets on. She wakes up during the day. Like sometimes she'll wake up in the morning. She'll be like, "Let's go do a TikTok." She'll like do it with me. It's
I
so
love
funny.
that. How
It's
fun.
So funny. Yeah. No, she's so cute. But okay, so let's get to what I really want to chat about, which is women in wrestling. Like so cool. I never would have expected you to get into this, and not only get into this, like you're excelling in this.
Oh,
like
thank you.
unreal. It's so cool to watch you. Like do these amazing moves and these crazy things. Like fill us in on all of this.
Yeah. So it kind of fell on my lap in a very backwards way than most people get into wrestling. So it kind of happened after I stopped cheering. So I stopped cheering, hung up the pom-poms, maybe like a year went by or something. I think I was still dancing for Busch Gardens at the time. And I just really missed performing. I missed performing, but I knew like I didn't want to go back on the sideline. I didn't want to go back to cheering, but I wanted to perform and I wanted to do something worthwhile that you could actually make like an income with, make a living with. So I was doing a bunch of research and looking up different things, and that's when I came across wrestling again. Wow. And I had known of wrestling. My little brother and I used to watch when I was in college, or not college, in high school. because I was a gymnast growing up, and when I'd come home from practice, it'd be like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So the only thing on TV really at that time late was wrestling. My brother was a huge fan of it as a young kid. So I would watch it, and they would do flips and tricks and stuff. So I thought it was cool, but I wasn't like an invested fan. I didn't know anyone's names. I would just, kind of graze and watch with my brother. So when I came across wrestling, researching this later on, now the women are much different than they were back then. Back when we were watching as kids, it was more so like what they called bra and panty matches. Like they weren't doing super athletic things, and they would walk out in like bikinis and maybe do like a jello fight or food fight or something along those lines. More so like models, I guess you would say. And then now they're like very athletic women doing the same exact thing that the men are doing. And it's just very, very cool. And it's very much performing, like you're acting, but you're also being athletic, but you're also doing all these physically cool gymnastics like moves. So I started researching it. I came across a tryout application for WWE, filled out the application, and they contacted me like the next week.
Wow.
So, yeah, so that was
What was the audition process like?
crazy. So I had no idea going into the WWE tryouts that it was like a big deal to be invited to them, especially since they just contacted me like a week later or a few days later. I was like, oh, they do this all the time. Everyone gets invited. Like, this is cool. But I showed up there, no experience, and there were maybe 8 or 9 other girls there with me, 40 people total. There were guys from the NFL there. There were superior college athletes, guys from the Olympics, people they flew in from Japan, Australia. Like,
Wow.
yeah, it was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
it was
Were you like, where am I?
like
what?
100%. I was completely unprepared. Now it's just like, where am I? Like, what am I doing right now? I'm like a cheerleader coming in with all these professional athletes that are like huge dudes.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I'm just going to fake it till I make it. Like, here we go. It was very hard. It was 3 days long, like straight conditioning training, weight room training. Basically, they just wanted to see your personality, your athleticism, and also your drive. Like, because the things that we did conditioning-wise and endurance-wise, like, push you to the limits for sure. And they want to see, like, is this person going to, get up and keep going, or are they going to stop and walk out? You know what I mean? Like, do they have the drive to continue in this field, or are they going to give up when it gets hard? And we did have a few people, like, walk out and say, nope, this is not for me, I'm out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where was this in Florida?
Yeah, in Orlando. They've been doing several tryouts out of state lately. They've had one in like Tennessee, one in Vegas. So they're starting to branch out of Orlando a little bit with these tryouts. But yeah, it was crazy intense. I mean, we got through, and really the tryout, once I stepped in the ring, was when I was like, oh yeah, I want to do this. Like, I don't care what the response is.
How did you know what to do though when you get in the ring? At first, were you like, I'm just gonna like fight? Like what? Like, or did they teach you? Like,
yeah. So in the tryout, we don't necessarily do like wrestling moves. It's more so like endurance training. But then they also see if you're agile. So you do a lot of like rolls and cartwheels and like footwork things. So I got like a little bit of a gymnastics side, doing like the rolls and the cartwheels and like the little things there, and like running the ropes, just feeling how the ring feels is kind of what the tryout puts you in, and testing your endurance is really what it was.
Have you taken any classes for wrestling prior to the audition? And
before it? No. So before it, I did go to like one class just to like get a feel for it. But one class won't prepare you for anything wrestling-wise goes. So I had stepped in a ring once before the tryout, but then getting in the tryout and just being there and being in the facility was so, so cool. And that was like the moment for me where I was like, yep, this is what I want to do.
So with the girls that you wrestle with, are they always like around the same weight?
No.
In height?
No.
Oh, no.
No, so it's very different than like USC or MMA. There's no weight class. You're just in there with whoever. So sometimes some of the girls are like my height, my size. Sometimes they're like triple my height, triple my weight.
Does it intimidate you or make you afraid? Or
No. So wrestling, or pro wrestling especially, it's a very respect-given industry. So when you go into a training center, or even when you go into like a match setting, the first thing people do when they walk into a room with pro wrestlers is you go around, you shake everyone's hand in the room and introduce yourself every single time, no matter if you've known the person for 5 years, right? You go in, hi, I'm Kelsey, hi, I'm Kelsey, hi, I'm Kelsey. It's a give and take respect build, because you got to take it that you're going in the ring with these people eventually. So you're not burning bridges because you're protecting each other in the ring.
Even if you like see on TV that you look like you're like hate each other.
Right.
You actually respect each other.
That's the acting.
That's so
right.
Cool.
That's the acting. That's the entertainment
you start to,
part
like,
of
feel
sports
it.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I'm watching, I'm like, oh my gosh, like
just like watching a movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know that these people aren't necessarily like Iron Man, right? You know it's not the Hulk, but at the same time, you're like, it's the Hulk.
Right,
like,
right.
Yes.
so you're not really trying to hurt each other.
No.
It's not.
Do you practice ahead of time with each other?
So we practice in training, but as far sometimes with matches, most of the time with matches, you practice an hour before you go out there, maybe.
With each other?
Kind of, sort of, not really.
Oh, so interesting.
Yeah, but so it's like a dance. Like, you have the moves in your head, right? You know, like your double turns, you know your leaps, you know your stuff, and then just piecing all the pieces together in like a choreographed dance, right? So you come with your partner and you're like, okay, like let's put on a show. What do we want to showcase today? What are and then you go together and fill your dance up.
It's about that time in our podcast where we're going to hit pause because we have something really exciting that we want to share with you.
We wrote a book together.
That's right. It's called A Bond That Lasts Forever. And basically, it's how we got this close and how you can too. It goes over all of our life's ups and downs, our struggles and obstacles, and became as close as we are today.
We share tips and quotes and actionable steps on how you can create your own ideal relationship. We even share photos on us throughout the years so you can see us on a whole different new level.
It's so true. Anyways, we loved writing this book, but we hope that you love reading it just as much, or maybe even a little bit more. Anyways, you can pick up the book at abondthatlastforever.com. You can get it at Walmart, on Amazon, at Barnes & Nobles,
or wherever you get your books.
Hey, you're stealing my line. Anyways, we hope you love reading it. Now, let's get back to the podcast. That is so interesting.
Do you choose who's going to win the match? I mean, how does that work?
Yes. So ahead of time, production tells us like, hey, we want this person to win, or, we want this person to win with this move. But most of the time, that's just about the direction that you're given. It's just that is who's gonna win at the end, and then it's up to you to put all the pieces together.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's very fun. I love it.
Yeah, that is so interesting. That like, so they know. So how do you advance if you already know who's kind of gonna win?
So again, it's a sports entertainment industry.
Right.
So we're all working and we're all actors essentially, right?
Right.
So if you are winning or you're getting titles or something, that means that production or that the audience is loving your character. So they want to give your character more story time, more time engaging with the fans. So when you're, I guess, on top, that is giving you validation, like the company respects you, they like you, they want to give you more time.
Whoa. So is there a lot of like sucking up to the company that goes on behind closed doors at all, or no? Because I know with like the acting industry, which might be very different than wrestling, I don't know, a lot of it's like who you know, who are you friends with, who are you kind of like dating? A lot of that type of stuff goes on. Does that happen at all, or not really?
I think it happened like years and years and years ago. I think now it's definitely more fan-based, especially with social media happening. If like fans are coming to social media and saying like, hey, we want this girl to win, or hey, we love this person, like this person sucks, like whatever the case may be, they're building storylines off of fan engagement now.
So cool.
So I think it's more so like getting the fans involved with the storylines more so than anything, sucking up to the bosses or or anything like that.
I like
because,
that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Social media has been a game changer in the industry for sure.
Are you very active in social media, or do you plan to be now that you have this whole role?
I try to be. Social media is so hard. It's a full-time job.
It is.
It's 100% a full-time job. So I am now with a company called Wild Women of Wrestling. We start airing on September 17th. So once that airing comes into play, we'll get all of our like social media content that we're able to post. And it's a season show. It airs once a week. So as the show goes on, I'll probably be more active on my social media to promote all the different shows that are happening or the different storylines that are going on throughout the year.
That's cool. And do you pre-tape that or no?
Yes.
So then if it's pre-taped, what if the fans like really start to fall in love with you and they want to see more of you? It's already pre-taped. So how does that work?
So it is it's a rotating funnel, I guess you can say. So we pre-plan as much as we can, but obviously if the fans have a different angle, you just reshoot. You know, you're just, so you're just going to have to reshoot and come to terms. And also, like, you never know what could happen. Like, you could have this whole plan for the entire year, and then in our second taping or something, someone gets injured. And then you got to scrap that whole plan for the year and rechange it and change it up. Because injuries do happen. I mean, we don't want them to happen, but they happen. So you just have, I'm sure they have different storylines for if X, Y, and Z were to happen. Or if fans react in a different manner than we expected.
This is so cool.
That is cool.
So like, so are you going to be airing often then? You'll be on weekly too?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, I am so excited.
I know. So it'll be airing on CBS owned and operated stations starting on the 17th of September. I believe it is every Saturday and Sunday. And it'll air once a week throughout the year.
So you have a stage name, Randy Rara?
Yes.
How did you get that name?
Yeah.
Like why did you keep Kelsey Rara?
Right? So that is actually a name. So the company I'm working with, Wild Women of Wrestling, they actually started in the 2000s. I believe it was 2000, 2001. And there was a cheerleader character back then called Randy Rara. So they decided to bring back some of the old character names for this new season. So I'm kind of taking on a legacy name of Randy Rara coming on here. And that's why when you said you've hung up your pom-poms, I'm like, well, kind of, sort of, because now I'm taking on a cheerleader character in wrestling.
Interesting. That's perfect for you.
Exactly. It's been so fun.
So you get to meet the original Randy Rara? Like
no, I haven't. No. But I'm sure, we've gotten to meet some legacies that have been in Wild Women of Wrestling or in like the original Glow. If you've seen on Netflix, we've gotten to meet some of those girls, and it's just inspiring what women are doing now in wrestling.
I love that.
It's very inspiring, very kind of that taking control of women making a name for something that's in a very male-driven industry.
Yeah.
So, Wild Women of Wrestling, it's called Women of Wrestling because they are the only like national televised program featuring just women. We don't have any males on the show besides like our broadcasting and commentary.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, so it's very, very cool.
Yeah, that's really great that they're like having that now.
Yeah.
And it's
just
so
showcasing what women can do.
Yeah, because we can do so much.
Exactly.
Like, especially, that is so cool. And I love that you went from cheerleading into this because this is so cool. Because I didn't think about it. At first we were talking and we're like, wow, like, how do you get into wrestling? Because when you think of wrestling originally, you think of, like, because my brother did wrestling.
Yes,
and he would have to, like, cut weight. And, like, he would have to spend, like, hours in the sauna, like, with garbage bags on him. And he would constantly, like, he'd be getting hurt all the time.
Right.
So when we originally would think of wrestling, we think of all the, like, the pain associated with it because we saw it firsthand with my brother.
Exactly.
And then when I would go to the matches, my heart was in my mouth with him because I didn't want him to get hurt. One time he dislocated his shoulder, and it was like, I was so nervous watching him.
Oh, of course. And my parents were the same way. When I said, like, hey, this is what I want to do, my parents responded in the exact manner. My dad was a wrestler growing up in high school.
Was he?
Yep. So the weight classes, the cutting of weight, all that, he knew of all of that. And they knew that pro wrestling wasn't mirroring that side of wrestling, but they also knew that it could be very dangerous.
Yes.
So at the beginning, they weren't fully supportive of it just because of exactly what you said. They were scared. They didn't want me getting hurt.
Right.
And like we talked about earlier, there was no weight class. So you have no idea who you're going in this ring with, you know? So they were a little bit worried and hesitant of it. But I will say throughout the years of me doing it, and I think they've seen just like my passion and how excited I am to do things. So now it's really great that they're now very supportive of it. And my dad has like texted me like news articles that I'm in or something. And I'm like, I'm like, that's so nice. Like getting your parents' validation is just like, it means the world to all of us. So finally getting them to turn the leaf and kind of be like, okay, we're for this now has been really, really great. So.
Do they come to a lot of the matches and do they come?
No. So they prefer to watch the taped matches because my dad's like, then we know that you're okay.
Oh, that's true.
So he's like, I don't want to watch the live ones because we don't know what's going to happen. So he's like, I'll watch the taped ones because then I know that you're good. Like, you're still here. It's fine.
But does your adrenaline start going? Do you get like scared when you see like a girl that comes in with this doing it and it's like double your size, like 5'6", 5'8", 6 feet and weighs 200 pounds? Or
I mean, of course you get adrenaline. Of course, like
but they're performers.
Yeah,
like
but
just
things can happen.
But you're working together the whole time, right? You're working together this entire time. So as much as like I'm counting on them to protect me, they're counting on me to protect them in the same realm. So
I am so excited to watch you more. Like,
so more so
cool.
the adrenaline is more so the performance side of things. Like I'm so excited to go out there and I'm like nervous about like, okay, am I going to mess up this move? Am I going to remember this? Am I going to like what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But then once like the music hits, the curtains open and you see the crowd, I mean, it's just like a dance recital, you know?
Yeah.
The adrenaline takes over. And for me, I'm not nervous anymore. For me, like that moment is when I'm on, I'm 100% and I'm just ready to go.
Oh my
so
God,
do you have
so
a certain style, like the clothes you wear for it, or like how do you choose what you're going to wear, or do they choose the production company, or do you?
So we have what's called like gear. It's basically a costume. And Wow Women of Wrestling, they provide my gear. It's very to a cheerleader character. So it's what you would envision like a cheerleading uniform to kind of look like. Obviously very blinged out. I have a huge bow in my head.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's very fun. And my gear is red and black, which I love because me coaching for University of Tampa, our colors are red and black too.
Wow. Yeah.
So I kind of like that it gives me that same back to my roots and to my like reality.
Yeah.
Kind of echoes each other, which
That
is
is
very
really
fun.
That's nice.
What does your husband think of all of this?
He loves it at the same time. He knows how happy it makes me.
Awesome.
So he's very supportive of it. He's come to a couple of my matches to watch and different things there, which is super fun. I'm still trying to get him to go to LA to come to one of our filmings and such so he can watch that. So he's going to come up and watch one of those soon too. But he's been fully supportive of this industry. It is a tough industry to be in, especially if you're not in it. Being married to someone outside of wrestling can be very difficult. The schedule is very demanding. I'm in LA like 11 days out of the month.
Whoa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
we're
wild.
there probably 11, 12 days out of the month filming and doing different things over there and training. And then when I come home, I'm still working full time. So we try and like get away for a long weekend so we can have like our time together.
Nice.
But yeah, if you don't have that trust and stability in your relationship, it could be very, very difficult dating or being with a pro wrestler just with the schedule that it demands.
Right. So much time.
Yeah, there's a lot of time, a lot of travel. We're really lucky that Wow Women of Wrestling, right now we're only filming about once a month, which is really great. But a lot of promotions, they film once a week and people are home one day out of the week, maybe.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So interesting. So do you have thoughts of moving out to LA, or you
No.
plan to stay?
Yeah, we plan to stay
Florida.
here in Florida, in Tampa. We just love it here. And, quick flight out there, stay
Right.
for a
Yeah.
couple days, fly back. It's not a big deal.
You get the best of both worlds.
And it's
true.
always nice to come home. Like,
Right.
I'm born and raised in Florida. Florida's home. So it's very nice to be able to come home again.
Right, definitely. So interesting. So do you have any advice for someone who's looking to get into the performance side of things or wrestling in general?
Yeah, just go for it. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is that you learn something new.
Yeah.
Right. The thing with wrestling is that it is a very, it pushes you outside of your comfort zone for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of acting, a lot of what they call selling, a lot of different things where as a gymnast, as a cheerleader, even though I had that athletic side, there's a lot that pushes you past your comfort zone in wrestling. So just learning to be a kid again, not get embarrassed and just be like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go full force. And it doesn't have to be wrestling. That's anything in life. Like I got into wrestling when I was 30.
Yeah, is there an age limit on it?
There's not.
Not as much.
Yeah, there's not, which is great. Of course, it's awesome to start these things younger in life because then you have more years experience and you can grow in the industry. But there's not to say that you can't start being a wrestler at 50 years old, or you can't start being a dancer at 50 years old, or you know what I mean? There's, I think so often we put limitations on ourselves based on
Our age.
yeah, based on age, based on geographic location, based on kids. We limit ourselves on what we can do. And I mean, at the end of the day, we're here in life to experience life. So who's to say that we can't pick up something else that we're interested in or that we've always wanted to do? Like if you've always wanted to be a professional wrestler and you loved wrestling watching as a kid, like go for it, try it. If you always wanted to be a pilot, go for it, try it.
I love your drive, and your
Yeah.
positivity. That's what everyone
you.
should be like.
Yeah.
I've just learned that taking risks is how it's okay. Taking risks is okay to do in life. And half the time, like, even though you're taking a risk, it might work out and it might fail, but either way, now you know.
Totally.
I'd rather know than go through life and then all of a
Wondering.
sudden be like, man, I wish I would have done that. Like, what would have happened had I tried?
Yeah.
It's
So true.
so you never
I
know.
love
Why
that.
not? Go for it.
I still can't believe NHL, NFL, NBA, pro wrestling. That's unreal
Thank
to get all of that.
you.
Like I remember.
You should be so proud of yourself.
Oh, thank you guys.
proud.
You guys are so sweet.
I remember. Do you remember when we were? Because we auditioned for the Lightning together.
We
our
did.
First year.
I think we were in the same group too.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I think we
I'm pretty sure we were.
Oh wow, you were my competition.
Oh,
No, but I remember like running up and like, are we gonna get in? And like, the
right?
excitement
Looking
and
at the
adrenaline
list, and
and
we're
like
like,
the nerves. But
right?
like, yeah, it's so crazy. It's so like was NFL probably even more scary? Like, what was the hardest audition that you went on? NFL, NHL, NBA,
That's a good
wrestling.
question.
I don't know. Probably. I mean, honestly, probably NFL because it was so much dance specific, and I'm not a dancer. Like I danced until I was 10, but I became a cheerleader gymnast after that. So probably that would be the hardest for me to overcome just because I was so outside of my realm of comfort and what I could do. But I loved auditions because I loved the competitive
Really?
side of it.
Oh my
like
God.
I loved it.
You could see you love the auditions because you make each one.
Well, that's like
And like every day is almost an audition when you're
Right.
competing for wrestling. Like that's always my like. I would love to like. I wanted to be an NHL cheerleader, so I auditioned. But the fear of auditioning is what made me almost not do it.
Right.
Like,
and I was the opposite. Like I would oftentimes I would go to Busch Gardens held auditions like once a month over here in Tampa. And I would go to those auditions just to be like, let's see how far I can make it.
Oh,
all the time.
so
all the
fun.
time. Just because I loved the adrenaline rush and I loved like challenging myself to do something different that was outside of my realm. Like they had auditions in tap. Never danced in tap my entire life. But I'd like fake it till I make, and I'd be like, let's see what I could do here.
I love that.
So and I think wrestling pushes me in that challenging environment to where I'm never bored wrestling. There's always something to learn, always something to do. Yeah. And it's always challenging, which I really, really enjoy. So I think that's why I've loved it so much, is because it drives my competitive nature that I have.
That is so
wonderful.
cool. Oh my goodness. Fake it till you make it.
Absolutely.
I love that. I'm all for it too. Hey, that's right. That's how we get far in life. I really believe it.
Exactly.
You know?
You never know.
Never know. So cool. Well, Kelsey, thank you so much for coming on the Chattermouth podcast. This was so fun. Where can our listeners follow along your journey?
Yes. So my Instagram and Twitter is Kelsey H. Heather, 2 H's. And then my Wow Woman of Wrestling Instagram, Twitter, TikTok is Randy _wow.
Nice. Very cool. Well, best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Chattermouth podcast. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Nothing's off limits with this duo. It's father and daughter, Don and Cher. And join the club if you're a Chattermouth.